Driven.
Now, love them or hate them, Ugg boots are back in fashion, thanks to the likes of Paris Hilton and Jessica Simpson. But now it's become a battle of which ones to wear, since the Aussie icons were taken on by the American invaders. So tonight we put Ugg boots to the ultimate test to determine which ones really are better, the cheap, the expensive, the foreign, or the locally made.
The Ugg boot war is now getting really dirty.
Although many won't openly admit it, most Australians have owned a pair at one time or another. But now the ubiquitous Ugg boot has become a must-have global fashion item.
It is a big market. I think it's grown as a consequence of celebrities wearing the boot.
And now they've sparked a legal battle between Australia and America over the ownership of the name Ugg.
It's like Big Brother, you know, the Americans are dictating to us about, the way we should run our businesses.
The giant American footwear manufacturer Deckers says it bought the rights to the name several years ago, and with its own expensive brand now on sale here, is threatening legal action against Australian companies like Tony Mortell, who's been using the name on his boots for 40 years.
Well, they say that we're infringing on their trademark, where that is an absolute load of crap. We have got our own trademark now. Leave us alone.
So, what's in the name? Well, a lot of money. In fact, the global market is now worth $500 million, and Deckers' Australian boss, Paul Carris, says his company is only protecting what's legally theirs.
Deckers now currently own their trademark, and like many brand names that have become generic, Kleenex for instance, we're not in the business of stopping other people make sheepskin boots. We're in the business of bringing the best product to the market.
There are many companies in Australia making these sheepskin boots, but they are now finding tough competition from China, as well as the American juggernaut, which is flexing its legal muscle. But how genuine are these products, and how do they stack up for quality, durability and value? We've tested 6 of the top-selling brands in Australia. The totally Australian-owned and made Mortell's sheepskin boots, selling for $100 a pair. The Australian-owned and made Skinix brand, retailing for slightly less. We've tested the middle-of-the-range Emu Ridge product, solely Australian-owned, but it's made in China, retailing for $120. The Australian-owned Aussie Sheep and Wool products sells for $129.95, and it's made in China. 2 pairs, each called Ugg Australia, were tested. One is Australian-owned and made locally. The other is more than $100 dearer, but is owned by American footwear giant Deckers and manufactured in China. Shoe analyst Bob Vickery pulled all the pairs apart in his laboratory, from the soles to the lining, the upper or surface of the boot, to the colour fastness and the material it's supposed to be made of.
One of the first things to do is pull on the fleece on the inside, and if it comes away from the outer of the boot, then it's not a genuine sheepskin boot.
For the first time in history, I think Australian-made product is by far a better quality product and almost half the price of this imported knockoff.
But Bob Vickery's comprehensive tests would dispute that the Aussie-owned Ugg boots are the best. In fact, he found almost the opposite.
The footwear supplied, 2 of them I determined were not genuine Ugg boots because they had a suede leather outer with, in both cases, an imitation sheepskin lining.
Bob's referring to the Aussie Sheep and Wool Products brand and the Emu Ridge, which are both made in China. And when it came to sole strength, the Aussies failed again.
And as you can see, that sole will just come off in wear.
But a big tick of approval for the expensive Deckers Ugg Australia brand, also made in China. Now to the results, and there were some surprises. The Aussie Sheep and Wool Products brand, that's totally synthetic and made in China, came up best for quality. Also scoring well, the most expensive Ugg Australia brand, owned by American footwear giant Deckers. While the Australian-owned version, Ugg Australia, also rated highly in our test. But the boots which didn't do so well were those owned by Australian companies. The Emu Ridge, made in China, the Aussie-made Skinix, along with the Mortells, fared badly for quality.
A big concern is the fact that some of the reports are saying that the Ugg boots are actually falling apart in some cases because they haven't been glued together properly or the stitching's loose, so it's of real concern.
Tony Walgar heads the Textile Clothing and Footwear Union. He admits being surprised at the results.
Well, I would have thought the Aussie product would have stood up to the test because I've always felt that the product that we produce in Australia is a quality that's far superior to the imported products.
I can't make excuses. I know that Australians can sometimes be a bit complacent, but in our factory that's not the case.
As for Tony Mortell, he believes we should have tested more of his boots, because he claims the pair he sold us for $100 were seconds, even though we weren't told that. In the meantime, trademark expert and lawyer David Stewart says Australian sheepskin boot manufacturers are fighting a losing battle over the UGG name.
Pretty similar to a David and Goliath battle. They've got a lot of resources to bear.
Sophie Hull there with some surprising findings, and the details of the UGG boot test can be found on our website, todaytonight.com.au, or you can give us a call.